Okay, after 6, I'll call this Area Planning Commission meeting to order. Could we have a roll call of members, please?
Yes, we will have a roll call of members as soon as I figure out where my pen went. Do the pen? That'll work. All right, Jordan Brewer,
Here.
Grant Muller,
Here.
Dan Sheets,
Here.
Walt Minnick,
Here.
Andy Bailey,
Here.
Jeff Chenoweth,
Here.
Chad Colby,
Here.
Liz Stitzel, and Kat Bell are present, as well as Attorney Jay Moore.
Okay. We have our minutes from last meeting. Are there any modifications or changes needed?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
That was Grant.
Grant? Jeff, was that a second?
Yes.
Okay, second by Jeff.
Thank you.
We'll do, I know we had some people missing, so we'll just do roll call on it.
Okay. Jordan Brewer,
Yes.
Grant Muller,
Yes.
Dan Sheets,
Yes.
Walt Minnick,
Yes.
Andy Bailey,
Yeah.
Jeff Chenoweth,
Yes.
and Chad Colby.
Yes.
Okay. And Dan, there's the minutes to sign.
Thank you.
Although you're gonna figure out the pen problem. I don't think you can sign in pencil.
We have no old business. We have one public hearing, which is CC 2024-00548, the petition of Evan Mawson. Can you take us through that, please?
All right, so this is indeed the petition of Evan Mawson, as Jordan said. He's requesting primary approval for a one-lot minor subdivision called Mawson Homestead. Both this particular property and everything surrounding it are zoned agriculturally. The petition site is a 2.42 acre lot. It's on the south side of East County Road 700 South, between South 1200 East and South 1300 East in Section 14 of Sugar Creek Township. The proposed new lot is a first split. It's off of a 33.33 acre parent tract. Probably not a lot of those. The site's all woodland. It's surrounded by farm ground. There is some wetland on the site, and the property owner, who's related to the petitioner, had a delineation consultant take a look at that. They flagged where the actual wetlands are. We do have those reports, and it's considerably less than what Beacon shows, which is the federal 1977 wetland study. That report is on file, and then we also confirmed with the DNR that the floodplain area is less than 1 square mile. So this is exempt from floodplain requirements or the need to complete a study for the area per state law. So this proposed new lot was heard by the Board of Zoning Appeals, and it was granted a special exception by the BZA on March 26th of 2024 for a new non-farm dwelling, or it was docket 1124 SE. On the second page, you can see the petition site and what the wetlands from the federal study from the 70s show. And then you can see in the delineation down below where the actual wetlands are. And this is not uncommon. The technology in the 70s wasn't real spectacular, and everything from hog lagoons to low areas in farmers' fields, got designated by accident. So on the third page, you've got a picture of the petition site looking from East 700 South, from east to west. The site is not in any legal watershed. The standard rural development protection language is included in the covenants. The Drainage Board has approved the request. The Health Department has approved the lot is suitable for a septic. It will require a perimeter drainage outlet, and they have identified and shown one on the plat. County Highway has no objection to a drive to access this lot, and the enforcement clause in the covenants is included and can be initiated by any adjacent landowner within 1320 foot. In terms of principles and standards of design, the two relevant ones, as is often the case on minor subdivisions, are restrictive covenants that are properly prepared and legally sound shall be incorporated in the plat. Jay did review the restrictive covenants. He noted some grammatical edits that need to be corrected. And I don't know if to my knowledge, we haven't received those corrections, but if they haven't been made, then there needs to be a condition in the recommendation that those are corrected before the secondary is signed.
I've not seen a second
A set of
draft ever.
corrections. Okay, so we don't have any corrections in hand. And then the second item about the subdivision name, that we not duplicate or too closely approximate any existing subdivision name. Kat checked with the county recorder, and there are no other names with Mawson Homestead in them, so that appears to be met. So then consequently, with Jay's feedback there on draft, staff would recommend to grant primary approval of the minor subdivision with the condition that the edits in the covenants be made to meet Jay Moore's satisfaction before the secondary is filed.
Okay, thank you. petitioner or representative like to add anything?
Yeah, I'm Seth Johnson with 40th Parallel Surveying, representing Evan and Monson. Nothing to add, just that we'll get the grammatical errors fixed before the secondary plat and go from there. So, any questions or?
Any questions, board?
Have anything?
Nope. Okay, thank you. There's no one else here for this, so we'll open it up to board discussion.
I've visited the site. I think it's a great location. Great drainage.
Okay.
I'll make that a motion, with the stipulation of the covenants.
Okay.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Give me just a moment. All right, Jordan Brewer,
Yes.
Grant Muller,
Yes.
Dan Sheets,
Yes.
Walt Minnick,
Yes.
Andy Bailey,
Yes.
Jeff Chanelwit,
Yes.
and Chad Colby.
Yes.
All right, 7-0, so you can work on the secondary, and move that towards being filed.
All right, thank you. You guys don't have to stay unless you really want to. New business. New business?
Oh, sorry, I completely didn't hear you. That's to you. All right, I'm gonna come to the budget first. I'm gonna pass down, I guess if you wanna do the whole beer on the wall thing and take one down and pass it around. That's probably the most efficient way of getting that down there. So in terms of budget, I had a brief conversation with Jordan about this ahead of the meeting, but county commissioners haven't entered into a fuel amount contract yet for next year. We're still waiting on a little bit of guidance from county council. They've given us general salary guidance, but they're asking us to include a longevity pay line item that's supposed to be calculated and come to us. We don't have that just yet in terms of solid numbers. So there's just a few things we can't firm up. These aren't due until July 15th, but the Plan Commission won't meet between the two, and state law says that, you know, as our governing body, you're supposed to take a look at this. What we often do when these hit in between Plan Commission meetings is instead of trying to call a special meeting, unless there's some disagreement among the board, we email out the budget in its final form, and, you know, if anybody objects, then they let us know, and we deal with that and let the auditor's office know accordingly. But since probably 80% of this is where it's gonna be, I thought the wise thing to do is to go ahead and present it, so I'll just go through it real quick. So salaries, we're pretty much just following council's guidance. There's some highlighted items there. The top one is a new position, and we hadn't received guidance just yet on what they wanted us to put in for 2025, so I'm waiting to hear on that. And then there's some related questions on overtime and longevity pay that we're waiting for. County council had changed one of our positions, the building inspectors, from exempt to non-exempt. So that's gonna impact our overtime budget because of the salary that person gets and the regularity with which they work over on hours. So we're still trying to work out what some of those numbers should be, but those are gonna get adjusted basically to council guidance, nothing above that. And then council can decide from there. You know, I don't have any particular asks as a director from us to be different than whatever council does. On the second page, there's a decrease. I kind of went through and looked at what's happening and what I expect to happen. This number was at 20,000 last year, so it's a pretty substantial decrease, but the reason is because we use this line item for paying out third-party reviewers and inspectors, and we had the solar farm like full bore, so we had a pretty significant third-party assistance, you know, budget of what was being paid out. We don't have something else currently with a permit pulled that's that scale in terms of demand on inspection and review time. So, you know, reduce that to something that covers, you know, the kinds of projects that are anticipated, but there's no reason to lock up money from other departments, in my opinion, if we don't actually think we're gonna need it. The rest of the line items that are green, where there's increases, are a result of looking at the current year's budget and where things are at. Now, the fuel and oil is highlighted. I made a wild guess based on a couple things of, still having some conversations there. But once we know our fuel numbers, then we'll look at, where we're up to and match what's being expended. And then, minor, a lot of these others are just minor $100 to $200 increases. It's just, we haven't made them in a number of years. In the last 2 years, we've done a lot of borrowing from Peter to pay Paul or asking for additionals from council. So it's just that things cost more than they did pre-COVID. But tried to limit those, because I think it's better to make some small adjustments over a couple of years if we have to, than make a wild guess and then have council wonder why we predictably didn't use something, especially in a year when I know they're making some other larger adjustments across the whole county. So anyway, if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to compare thoughts or notes. I wanted to at least present it and see if I could get your blessing to email out the final form, and assuming that nobody objects, go ahead and submit it as noted with any final adjustments that are required. Where I would expect the adjustments would be those salary line items, and then that fuel and oil line item is probably going to decrease from what you're seeing there right now. I had a quick conversation with Jordan. He told me where he thought it might be, but it's not a done deal yet in terms of that being locked in. So once we know the number, then we have to calculate tax and look at our miles from the last years and kind of do an average. So there's just a little math, and then we'll match that. So.
Okay. Questions from any board members? Any comments? So,
No, nothing from here, other than if we're gonna reference the green items and the red items, we should probably have colored copies instead of.
Oh, well, that's not very helpful. I
Right.
apologize. So
But that's helping keep the budget down.
I can run through those.
well, no, they say
No,
increase
no,
or
it's a
decrease.
increase. Yeah, I meant
Oh,
that.
okay, so you could.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how I was searching.
I say my apologies. You're right, that wasn't very helpful.
So you want, kind of a verbal from the board to have the okay to kind of fine tune the budget and then turn it in?
Yeah, so state law requires the plan commission to adopt and then send the budget and then work within whatever county council approves, as the overall. So the way state law reads, that's why we ask for a vote each year. I don't have the authority as the department head to just unilaterally decide what to submit if the plan commission doesn't support it.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve, to support the budget.
I'll second.
Who was my second?
Grant.
Grant, roll call, please.
And just to be clear, Jeff, was that support with the caveat that when we fine tune these last numbers, I'll email that out before I submit it?
Exactly.
And if any board members object, then I'll let the auditor know it cannot be presented to council until we meet again.
That's right.
Okay. All right, Jordan Brewer,
Yes.
Grant Muller,
Yes.
Dan Sheets,
Yes.
Walt Minnick,
Yes.
Andy Bailey,
Yes.
Jeff Chanowit,
Yes.
Chad Colby.
Yes.
Okay, let me just finish this note here real quick. Okay. I don't have an agenda in front of me. Oh, no, I
I
have
already
it.
took this morning home.
Okay, so our other item, which are bad, because you guys tabled it, so it's still on there, but we have a job description still under consideration. I was supposed to bring back to you guys with guidance from HR to make sure we stayed with the new formats today, and I don't have that. I found out today when I checked in. There's some confusion we need to work out in terms of process. And I had just had a chance to talk to Jordan. This all kind of fell through today, and I had meetings this morning. So it was kind of some last-minute conversation. But in terms of whether the Area Plan Commission has authority under state law for hires and fires, or whether the county commissioners take that authority. And I think there hasn't been opportunity to discuss that in between entities, but I don't have that position back as of yet. So I guess I need to request that if it can stay continued, well, that's kind of being figured out, because I also can't violate state law and take something in a different direction without the Plan Commission figuring that out. So I don't feel like there's enough information. I don't know if Jay has any comments on that at the moment, but I don't have it, so we can't vote on it. And I don't know if that kind of, sums that up, but it will be coming back, I think, one way or another. We just have to work that out.
Yeah, I do have a comment on that. This sort of Civics 101. An area plan commission is a unique entity under Indiana law in that various different levels of government have ceded authority to the area plan commission. In other words, the town of Kirkland, the town of Rossville, they have joined in the area plan commission. The county has joined in the area plan commission. The city of Frankfort, if it chooses to, can join in in the area plan commission. In doing this, the legislature created what is a relatively autonomous entity. The commission basically makes the decisions for itself, with each of the constituents having membership on the commission. In other words, we have the small town representation. We have a representation from the school system. We have people who are appointed by the city council, by the county council, and we have a member of the county council. And the person who's appointed by the county council cannot hold any other office whatsoever. Same with the county commissioners. They have an appointment, and they have a right. Also, they have one of their members on it. And by statute, either the county extension agent or the county surveyor serves on the commission. So what you do is you bring in all these different units to have their voices heard in the commission. But then the commission then basically is an autonomous entity to make zoning decisions, and that includes hiring and firing decisions. And the statute says, under the direction of the Area Plan Commission, the executive director shall, paragraph 5, subject to the approval of this commission, appoint and remove employees of the planning department according to the standards and qualifications fixed by the commission and without regard to political affiliation. So that's how this whole thing has been set up. There is one check on it, and that is the legislature did not give us a tax rate. So we don't have any funding of our own. And the check on funding is the county council. The budget goes to the county council. But it's unique in that it is the budget of this really autonomous And if you think about it, you'll understand why is it had to be autonomous, because the small towns wouldn't have entered into this if they didn't have their say. The school corporations would not have been in favor of it if they didn't have their person involved. County government has their people involved. And quite frankly, if the city of Frankfurt chooses to join, or had chose to join, may in the future, who knows, is they would have a certain percentage. In Tippecanoe County, you have, 17 members?
17.
By the time you bring in all the different groups that have a right to have a member. So anyway, that's how it works. And really, I think it's right for the area plan to work through and use the employee manual that we're talking about, but the ultimate decision on who to hire, who to fire, is this commission and this directors, not.
It's not mine, it's definitely the
Well,
commissioner.
yeah, well, you make the recommendation, we make the decision. We being the commission, not me. I'm just the attorney.
We can discuss.
Yeah,
I think there's a misconception, but at the same time, this, unless this board is going to pay the county for utilizing our HR, all these representatives to get this stuff done, whether they're going to pay the benefits, there's a lot of different moving parts. I don't think that the commissioners are trying to say we're overstepping the statutory requirement, but the county has a process that needs to be gone through for it to meet the approvals. No different than it hasn't actually met to the council yet, because it's just in this budget,
No,
correct?
it was actually approved in the 2024 budget for hire this year, pending the final job description from the Area Plan Commission. So it's currently approved at 44,000 for this year. It was just waiting for, we didn't have time last year to try to iron out a job description. So that was why I was bringing it to the Plan Commission, was to fulfill that state law requirement for direction. But no, it's currently in the budget. That said, if there's, it seems like there's some things that need to be worked out, and there's a super short timeline, and the realizations that there were some challenges here, I'm not in favor of attempting to rush ahead and hire somebody without trying to work these things out. I'm not saying that just because the county council has granted that funding, that we should ignore trying to figure this out
Yeah,
internally,
because- yeah.
so.
I agree. So
well, and I'm not saying that
let's just
we
move
don't-
on for now,
that
and we
if-
can discuss after.
Okay, but I'm not saying that the county doesn't have a role in other words, since if we're using your fringe benefit system, then
Because if we put a hiring freeze on, and then the APC decides that it wants to hire somebody, there's a hiring freeze in
what
the county.
hap-
So I'm not adding anybody else to my benefits. That's in our budget.
So in a hiring freeze, what would happen is council wouldn't fund, the plan commission still has the right to hire, but unless one of the board members or someone else is willing to work for free, obviously that's gonna fall apart
yeah.
in
I mean,
negotiation.
the power of the purse still lies with the county council.
Understood.
Presumably
Yeah,
would be in on a hiring freeze.
Yeah.
I mean, surely they wouldn't say to the plan commission, you can have as much as you want, while they're saying to everyone else.
Yeah. No, we understand that, and
Our next meeting's August 6th.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, do I have a second?
That was at Grant.
Yep. Oh, second was Jeff.
Perfect, thank you.
See, there it is.
Do I have a, oh, Dan gets that one.